Hello, welcome to the third part of this video of this lesson series on basic functions and formulas. Here, let's see how to apply the some of those things we've learned, the functions we've learned to actually fill up this table and also see how to, just run this. So what table is this? Let's first of all, we have to understand the table we're working with, right? Now, this table is actually just a fictitious data set that want to use to practicalize the functions and formulas. And then this data set contains various tasks, such as it's going to comprise of various tasks such as adding, taking average, counting, text. I will also perform some text manipulation, and we'll also see how to use some logical operations. So the first thing we want to see how to do is to perform basic formulas. Now, what do we mean by basic formulas? We want to sum up the cost of apples and bananas. All right, so these are the apples and these are the bananas. So quantity. So the quantity is what? These are the quantities. So the sum of okay, no, the sum of the unit price. You can actually add the sum of the unit price of apple and banana if that is what you want to. Okay, so how much is the unit price of apples and bananas? So how do we do that? Let's just start from cell A12 and then we type sum of. You see, this is still a way of just practicalizing or making you understand sum the cost of apples and bananas. So I was saying something earlier. So this is just a way to help you also practicalize those things that we've just learned, right? So the formula to use to do to perform this calculation would be okay. I think I should just move this from here. Okay, so quickly just learn something. I want to move this from here. Let's do it on column J, right? Let's just take it to column J. So I just move and drag. I think my computer is okay. Great. Just move it and drag it to column J. Okay. Expand this. Just double click. So the sum is going to be entered in column K, right? Column K. So what do we do? How do you go about that? So I'll just go put my equal to. Then we are adding B to the unit price of apples is $1.2. That is B2 plus B3. Enter. So that gives us 1.7. That is the sum of apples and banana. Now, again, let's also practicalize subtraction. So I would like us to subtract the cost of cherish from dates. So the cost of cherries from dates, that is the cost of dates. That will be equal to cherries is in B what? B form. Okay, the cost of cherries from dates. So that's going to be the cost of dates is 2.5, right? That's going to be 2.5 minus that is B5 minus B3, and that gives us negative 0.5. So that is the cost. That is the subtraction. Now let's just go ahead and just perform other simple arithmetic. So let's just leave. So I believe that with all the whole practice we've done from addition and subtraction, you must have understood how to perform those basic addition and subtraction. Okay, this just me just trying to remind us of how to use addition, subtraction, and all this. I've deleted those columns, right? Let's come back to our tables. Okay, let's come back to our table so we just understand what's going on here. All right, great. Now we want to calculate total cost. Now, if a unit price of apple is $1.2 and somebody buys, maybe you go into a store and they purchase 10 quantity, like 10 apples, how do you get the total cost? The total cost will be the products. It's going to be the unit price times the number of apples that was gotten from the store. That is equal to B2 times C2. Enter. So once you do that, it gives you the total cost of the apples from the store. Okay, so next is just use the autofill handle to copy through the entire cells, just to do the same calculation across every other cells. So this is what I'm going to do. Click and drag it over, and with that you've gotten the total cost of bananas. That is 7.5. That is 0.5 times 15. We've gotten the total cost of cherish, which is $15. Total cost of dates, which is $20, and so on and so forth. That is how to produce or generate the total cost of this particular item that were bought from the store. Okay, so what next? Our data contains the items bought, the unit price, the quantity, the total cost, the name of maybe the people who purchased those items, and some scores, some stock level recorded needed. So these are some of the things that we're going to work with. I just created this fictitious data set to help us understand how to use some functions. So now we've seen how to use the sum. I mean, how to calculate total cost. So if you want to calculate the total of this entire, guys, and the total amount or total cost, the overall total cost of this entire amount, all we need to do is just use our sum function. Now we're going to use the sum function to calculate the total, right? That's going to be equal to sum. Of course, oh my God, Google Sheet is so smart. Google Sheet already sees that, oh, it can identify some numbers within the range. It has already selected the numbers for me, and it's saying, hey guy, I'll do the work for you. Just go ahead and tab, press tab on your keyboard to accept my suggestion. I'll press tab, and that's it. We've accepted the suggestion that's giving us the total cost of $122.6 dollars. Now, in case you want to have the dollar symbol shown with these figures, although we're going to talk about that during data formatting, but let me just do that quickly. Go to format and go under number, go under currency, and in fact, you have the data symbol. So if you want it to two decimal places, choose this, and that gives you the values in two decimal places. But if you want it to round up to one decimal place, you can just remove your decimal place from by clicking on this decrease decimal places, and there we go. We have it to the nearest whole number. So this is the total cost of the items bought from that store. Okay, and of course for the average, it's very easy. We could also calculate the average, right? Let's add another value called average here. So the average is going to be equal to average. Okay, so it gives you, select the range again, average from D2 to D9. I want the suggestion, and the average is $15 in to the nearest whole number. That is superb. We can go ahead and get this. So I'll allow you to complete this one, get the minimum, the maximum. All right, so that do that for yourself, because I believe you've seen how to do that, and count number of items that was purchased. So I'll leave you guys to complete these ones and then send in. We're going to talk about this during the live session. I would like to see all your calculations. Let me go ahead and just create, what's it called now? Yeah, this is cool. Amazing. So the next step I would like us, the next class of functions I would like us to understand or work with here is the text function. So there are some functions that are related to text. Okay. So the text functions allows you to work with different types of text. Example of a text function is the concatenate, the left, and the rest. So here we have the names already. We have the first and the last name already given to us right here. Okay. Say we want to extract. Let's say we want to actually split this. Let's think of splitting this. How do we split the names, right? Because they're together. Let's see how to use a function to split. Yeah, so there's a function called split. Let's do that under the column I. Let's just call this first name. Yeah, first name, and J will be last name, right? So assume that the names are arranged in terms of first name and last name. John is the first name, Jane is the first name, Michael is the first name, and so on and so forth. Okay, so we've added two columns called first name and last name. Okay, let me just color this, give this a different color so that it will show that this is just an added column by us. So for the first name and last name, I want to use the function split equal to split. So there's a function called split. It says split text by specific character delimiters. So what's a delimiter? Delimiter could be a comma, it could be a space, it could be forward slash, it could be quotation, it could be bracket. So how do I want to split this? I want to split this by the space between the first name and the last name. Select split. So what do you want to split? I want to split the text that is contained in cell E2. So here I'm using the cell reference. And how do you want to split it? What's delimiter? I want to use the space delimiter. Can you see how I added my space delimiter? Just put your double quotes with a space, with an empty dash between, just one space between them. So that is my delimiter. Press enter. And once you do that, you can see that we have successfully split the name called John. John as the first name and Dio as the last name. Now, if I want that to also affect every other names, I'll use my autofill handle to click drag to also select others. And voila, we have we have split the names into the first name and the last name. Isn't this awesome? This is super amazing. So that is a split function. How to use the split function? The split function is one type of text function, or in fact, you can split. We use it more often with text, but you can also split any kind of data set that you have. All right. Now let's assume we want to collect just the first three letters of each of their first names, right? Let's call this first three letters. So the first three letters of each of their first name. Okay. There's a function called left. There's also another function called right. So this is going to be equal to left. So you're saying, okay, I want to take the left of the text called John. I want to see J-O-H, just J-O-H, comma 3. So text left of I2 because the name John is stored under cell I2, comma 3. 3 means I want to pick the first three letters from the left. Enter. What do you see? J-O-H. So I have extracted the first three letters from the left. You can extract just the first letter from the left, second letter, and the rest. So we've extracted the first letter. If I want to extract just the first letter, you do 1. So that will give you a J, right? Do you see that? So the number you put in here gives you the number of letters that we extracted from the left. That is what left. That's how left function works. So that is extracting the first three letters from the left. So what if you want to extract the last three letters from the left of also the first name? Okay, last two letters from the first name. I do equal to left. Okay, sorry, right this time around. Right, because we want the last two letters. Right of I2 because John is stored in cell I2, comma 2. So the last two letters from the right. Enter. So that gives me HN. Once you double click, it will copy the formula across other cells. N E E L L Y I S A T A M E X. So these are some cool functions that you can work with when you are working with text data type. Okay, so assuming that the data set you have comes in this order, okay, let's hide these two, L and K. Let me just hide these two. I don't delete it because I would like to come back to it later. Let's click on hide. So I'm hiding the columns. So with this you're learning how to do some other things, right? So hide. The columns are hidden. They are there, but they are just hidden. So let's say you have a data set comes in this form: first name, last name, and rest, and you want to bring this first name and last name together. How can you do that? So let's call this full name. There's a function called concatenate. We have two types. We have concat and concatenate. First of all, I'll show you how to use concat. So concat is used to join just two strings. So I want to join the name stored in I2, John, comma, and the name stored in J2, Dion, bracket close, enter. So it just combines the two names together without a space. If I click drag, it shows you all of others without a space. So this is just like the compact or the choked words or names, full names of these people. And we do not want it to be like this. Okay, how do we solve this problem? How can we bring in what's it called now, a space in between? Okay, so one way to bring in space in between is to come back to the first. Oh, this is even a text. This particular name is actually generated with a function. So that method, the method I was thinking about, may not work in this case. So what the method I was thinking about actually is not even the best method. It's not the best practices. It's very, very wrong to do that. I only wanted to show you that you can actually achieve it that way, but that is not the best way to do it. So the best way to achieve that or to solve that problem, let's delete this one out, is to use the concatenate. So let me go back to concat. Now it says concat or concatenation of two values. So concat only combines two values, just two values. We can't combine three values. And the way to solve that problem of bringing a space in between the text is to make three things appear. So instead, I'm going to use concatenate, append strings to one another. When you choose concatenate, select the first word, the first cell, I2, put a comma. Now the space will be entered by just a white space with this double bracket. So this double quotes with a space in between. That's the space that will appear between the first name and the last name. Then I select the last name and close my bracket. Can you see the syntax? Concatenate, open a bracket, I2, comma, the white space I want in between the first name and the last name is appearing here. Then with a comma and then J2. Press enter and you have the name put together, the full name, John Dio. And that makes sense. When you click and drag, you have other names appear in the right format instead of having them choked together. So right now you've learned about concat and concatenate. Concat is used to join two things, but concatenate is used to join multiple things, right? Including adding space between the text and so on and so forth. So I believe this recording is getting interesting, very very interesting, right? Okay, so let's say you are interested in knowing the length of the names, the length of first names, yeah, of their first name, each first name. What's the length of characters in the first name? There's one very very interesting function, text function that I can work with. It's called len, len. Len gives you the length. So length of John, enter. So John has 4 letters. When you double click or you click and drag, tells you, oh, Jane has 4 letters, Michael has 7 letters, Emily has 5 letters, uh, Chris has 5 letters, Pat 3 letters, Sam 3 letters, and Alex 4 letters. So that's how to get the length of the characters of each name. So these are different functions that you'll be playing with whenever you're working with your text data. Text data. You work with all of those functions. Yeah, so now I would like us to check to use the conditional or the if function. Let's talk about the if function to record, to have something on either recorded, needed. Do we need a recording? Is recorded needed? Yes or no? Okay, we are also going to use the same thing to check if the student, we also have a score column here. I added this score column because we want to use it to do something, right? So let's insert a column between H and I. I'll come over to I and then click on insert to the left, insert column to the left. So I want a new column. So a column has been added. Okay, let me just take out this particular shading, go to this place and click on reset. So I also want to say, do we call it grade? No, we shouldn't call it grade, we should call it pass fail. So is this person pass or fail? Okay, so I want to use the if function to fill these two columns. Okay, let me give it a different color. I'll give it a different color. Let's say give it this light yellow. So now recorded needed. Now what do we want to do with recorded needed? Excuse me. So if G2, if the stock level is actually less than 10 quantities, so let's say these are quantity of stock level, right? If it's less than 10, let's say yes, recorded, sorry, reordered. What am I saying? So what's wrong with my eye? Reordered needed. So we want them to reorder to fill up stock. But if it is greater than 10, then we do not want to reorder. We don't want them to fill up stock. So let's see how the if function works. Before we talk about how it works, let me just give you the syntax. Let me show you the syntax. The if function works in this way. You give it the if, don't forget to start the equal to sign. So I'm not putting the equal to sign because I want to explain the syntax. If the condition to test, if condition, this is what you want to test. So the first thing you put is the condition. If condition, then results value if true. Value if true, comma, value if false. Value if true and value if false. Then you close your bracket. So this is the if function. Let's pay attention to it. Here is the if function. That is how to use the if function. You begin with your equality sign. Don't forget, you put if, open a bracket, then you put your condition. So what condition do you want to test? Comma, then put the value if true. So if this condition is true, what would you like to see? That is what you put next as a parameter. Then comma, if the value that you've tested there is false, if the condition is false rather, what value would you like to see? That's what you put as the last parameter. So that is how the if function works. Let's go ahead and implement it. So our condition here is if the stock level, if stock level is less than 10, we would like to say yes, stock reorder needed. If it is not less than 10, if not, we'd like to say no, reorder not needed. So how do you put that here? Go ahead and say equal to if stock. Just click on that cell G2. If G2 is less than 10, use a less than symbol. Oh, I didn't remember to talk about logical symbols. Don't worry, we're going to talk about it later. if G2 is less than 10, comma, say in a double quote, yes. So yes means yes, it's actually low, we need to reorder. If no, if not, we say no. Can you see how the syntax is written? Then you press the enter key, and here it says no, reorder not needed, truly because the stock is actually far greater than 10. Now when you double click or click and drag, it populates other cells. No, yes, that is because this is greater than 10. Yes, because this is actually 0, so this reorder is needed. No, because this is actually greater than 10. Yes, because this is less than 10. No, because this is actually greater than 10, and so on and so forth. Can you see the way we have used the conditional function, the if function, to tell if reorder is needed given some stock level or not? Very, very interesting, right? I hope you're enjoying this video, and I hope you're learning a lot. Okay, let's also use the if function to also, show if this person, if these people pass or failed this particular test. And what will be our condition? Our condition will be that if the person scored above 80, okay, let that person, let it be that the person passed whatever test the person had written. But if the person score below 80, let the person fail. So how do you think that syntax can be written? Can you suggest? Given the idea, can you suggest? If you're thinking this way, that means you're right. Equal to if F2, because F2 is where the scores are stored, is greater than 80, comma, then show pass, comma, else show fail. Very, very simple. Enter. And this person, John, passed because he scored 85. Jane should pass. Michael should fail because he scored below 80. Emily should pass. Chris should pass. Pat should pass. Sam should pass, and Alex should fail. So only two people failed, right? Let's see if that will give us the expected output. And voila, we have the expected output. There are just two fails, and other people passed. So that's how to use the if function, the sum function, the concat, the concatenate, the left, the right, the sum. In fact, that is how to use all of these functions right here in Google Sheets to manipulate text data and numbers. All right, so this brings us to the end of basic functions and formulas. We will talk more about those functions during the live lessons. Do have a wonderful time ahead. Please, if you have questions, don't forget to ask questions. Please don't stop at what you learn. Please go ahead and check other inbuilt functions in Google Sheets. Play with them, see how they function, see how they work. That is how you learn better and faster. All right. Thank you for watching this. It was a pretty long one. I'll see you again in the next one. Goodbye.